Okay, well, welcome to Jedi News.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Good. Now, obviously you're here at Celebration to talk about your audiobooks and the stuff that you do. Tell us a little bit about that. How did you get started?
In 2006, I got an audition, and my agent called me and said, we have an audiobook. And I was like, oh no, because I've heard like audiobooks were really intense work-wise in terms of hours. I'd never really done one before. But then they said it was Star Wars, and it was like, oh, please, yes, God, yes, I'll do it. And so I auditioned, and I really worked hard on that one, and I got it. And then that was the Legacy of the Force series.
Yeah.
And then it just kept going from there.
And clearly you're a fan. I mean,
oh, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, yeah. Ever since I was a little kid, loved it.
What got you on board with Star Wars as a fan?
Well, the movies. I mean, I was... I told someone else this, but one of my earliest memories is seeing Empire in the theater.
Yeah.
And when R2 goes in the water and Luke's screaming out, "Where are you?" I'm like, "He's in the water," you know. So, and ever since then, just.
So you felt part of it. You felt interactive with it. You wanted to be more involved.
Oh yeah, and anything and everything Star Wars, I want to be a part of.
So it's a dream job.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Prayer.
So when you started doing your voice work, what was the first actual story that you worked on?
It was Betrayal, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think I got hired because I could do different character voices.
Yeah.
But I did not have experience narrating prose and the descriptions of landscapes, and so Kevin, the director, really had to work with me to make that not bland and boring, so I had to kind of learn how to do that, through Legacy of the Force, but then I think I've gotten a rhythm there.
Yeah, you get into the swing of it.
Yeah.
So what sort of prep work do you do? Obviously there's loads of different characters in the books.
Yeah.
Presumably internally you've got to find a voice and a motivation for that character.
Yeah, I usually get the script about 2 to 3 weeks before we have to record, and I'll read through the whole book, and then any character that has a speaking role, I'll jot their name down, and any physical descriptions the author makes, and any character descriptions to help me kind of keep straight what they are doing in the story. And then as I'll go, I'll record in my phone like different ideas for voices or whatever, and then once I've got it all set, I say, oh, this voice is too similar to that voice, I'll change it up, and then I kind of get my list of characters and my list of voices all ready to go, and then we hit the booth running. And
the more detail you get on a character, written detail, he's a big guy, he's a small guy, he's a fat guy, he's a big guy, that all helps.
Absolutely, and Wikipedia is essential. Like I go there all the time, and if they say I'm trying to think of a good example, but if this is a Twi'lek, I'll look that up, and if it's someone known in the expanded universe, I'll see if there's any like comic illustrations of them, or other references. Like some of them have been in video games, so I've been able to like go on YouTube and find video game references. So I'll try to come as close as how they've appeared before.
Yeah, just to get that internal consistency going.
Yeah.
So if you had a dream, and this is going right back to when you were a kid, if you had a dream Star Wars story that you could narrate, what would that be? Anything, films, books, comics, whatever.
Wow. Of the ones that exist?
Yeah.
I guess everyone would say Empire. I mean, that's like that's the big one, and Empire, just because Yoda's my all-time favorite character.
Oh, right, okay.
Just the mythology of the Force and Luke's training, that would be epic to be able to do.
So you've enjoyed the Clone Wars, presumably, because...
Oh, I love the Clone Wars.
Yoda heavy, isn't it?
Yeah. I watched that. I have 2 boys, 7 and 9-year-old boys. That's our ritual, is like when it's on. Like,
It's a great excuse as well.
Oh, yeah. I use them. I'm trying to be a good father, That's why I watch the cartoons,
So if you, slightly different question then, if you were able to come up with a story, what would that story be?
It would definitely be something revolving around the Jedi. Like I know some people love the military aspect of Star Wars, and some people love smugglers, but I would love to do something with Jedi mythology. And I mean, I've always wanted to know more about Yoda. I don't know if George Lucas is, not wanting to do that, but I'm dying to know his backstory. How he was trained, and all that stuff. So that would be really fun. To come up with that.
Keep working at it. You never know. You might get to write a story.
Why
not? So you've been doing it for a few years now. So where do you think this is going to go? I mean, and also in terms of technical aspects, because obviously technology moves on to there's different sort of media platforms that you can get audio out there.
Right.
Where do you think it's going to go?
Well,
where would you like it to go?
What I would like to see happen, and Kevin Thompson, the director, has talked about this as well, but you see a lot going on with e-readers and enhanced books. And I think Star Wars is such a perfect platform to have more interactivity in the books, you know, and whether, like, you could have an e-version of the book and you could choose to listen to it or read it, and then I think it's just like, I just did some Old Republic tie-ins, you know, and I think it was EA who produced those beautiful cinematic, you know, things. And, you know, for example, it would be so great to, in the middle of the book, press a button and see that come up as a cutscene, you know, or to have be narrating a description of a battle and, you know, push a button and the little holograms of the ships come up, and as the stories goes by, you see the tactical display on your e-reader, you know, and just so it's just Kevin, I think, came up with that. In case I get in trouble. But so I would love if there started to be more interactivity in the e-readers and on iPads and Nooks and stuff. I think Star Wars is built such a perfect, you know, vehicle for that. You know, or even if like you had, you know, side stories that happened within the trilogies, you know, and you could have like, you watch the opening 5 minutes of, you know, New Hope, and then the camera pans to see one of the people in the cantina, and then you follow that.
Branching off.
You know, so it's just, there's cool things like that you could do, which would be amazing, you know. Put a lot of money to produce.
Now, obviously, at the moment, now and hopefully continuing on, you're going to be doing Star Wars. What other franchise, story, what other thing would interest you? You know, different from Star Wars, something else. What would interest you?
Not much, just because, like, audiobooks, you know, it's not manual labor, but it's hard work, you know. So, I mean, I'm a huge Star Trek fan. So I could probably be persuaded to do some Star Trek stuff. But I've turned down some projects just because if it were not for Star Wars, I probably wouldn't be doing as many audiobooks as I'm doing, just because it's with Star Wars that I'm living out a childhood fantasy, and I enjoy what I'm reading, you know, but there's it can be kind of tedious if you don't like what you're reading.
Totally get that. Get that. That's absolutely fantastic. I won't take any more of your time, but thank you very much.
Oh yeah, no, it's nice to meet you.
And you, thanks again.